I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? Did this actually happen to this guy? What are you talking about? Are you serious? Are you seriously serious, guys? Something awful is going on in the sidewalks of the Bronx, New York tonight as a man walking down the sidewalk in the Bronx, New York, and the sidewalk opened up and a hole swallowed him as he fell down about 15 feet into a hole. He was then covered by rats. It took 30 minutes to pull him out of there. Are you serious? Can somebody just call time out? I'm going to put a shout out right now if I can even. And he would have needed a light down there in that hole with the rats crawling on him, and he's injured. www.solarstairlights.com. That's www.solarstairlights.com. Look, guys, detectives have replaced the medals of a Marine vet lost in a burglary in Virginia. Arrests for this burglary have been made, but the original medals were never recovered. This 84-year-old Vietnam veteran was floored at the lengths that detectives went through to try to replace his medals. We should do everything we can to prevent burglaries like this from happening in the first place, which is why I'm going to show you right here. SolarStairLight.com. SolarStairLights.com. www.solarstairlights.com. Guys, what you can do, these are amazing. You get 4 of these beautiful solar powered lights, okay? And they're yours, and you can just put them right where you want to on the stairs. It's an amazing, and they're powered with the solar, okay, with the solar panels, and you just fasten them wherever you want to on your steps. And there's four come in the pack, and you just stack them up there to wherever you step. It comes with all the screws to fasten them, as well as some adhesive as well as screws, so you can get those in a nice, perfect place where you want them to be. Make it easy. And look, I have stairs in my home. I want to be sure I'm safe. I want to be sure I can see on the steps. And if somebody else wants to come trying to be intruding, we want to be able to see who they are. Now, all of this is available if you just go to www.solarstairlights.com. That's www.solarstairlights.com. They've knocked the price down 65%, which is just insane. But get a hold of these guys at www.solarstairlights.com. All right, let me tell you what else is going on now. This was an incredible story in the Bronx, New York. Good to see all 422 of you. Everybody put a thumbs up right now. The algorithm's insane. All right, it's unbelievable. Whoa. But I never want to fall into a hole, and I certainly don't want to be then devoured by rats when I get there. The man is still alive. A man swallowed by a sinkhole in the Bronx, New York, is swarmed by gigantic rats during 30 minutes until the rescue arrives. A New York City man was waiting for the bus nearly recently when he fell into this sinkhole that held another horrific surprise for him, a swarm of rats. Leonard Shoulders, age 33, suffered a broken arm, broken leg after being swallowed by a 12 to 15 foot crater in the Bronx sidewalk. There's actually a video of it, guys, and I've watched it, and it's a surveillance camera. It is insane. It's eerie. It's scary to watch this guy just drop out of sight. My Lord. Matter of fact, over at the CBS News affiliates over there, CBS News affiliate out of the Bronx, New York, actually talked about it, and here's what they said.
Situation caught on camera, this time as a man falls through a hole that then opens up beneath him on the sidewalk.
He is literally there 1 second and gone the next.
What?
The victim's brother spoke with CBS 2's Ali Ballard about this freak accident.
The victim is still being treated at the hospital. His brother tells us he is alert and recovering, but is deeply traumatized by what happened. Surveillance video shows a man walking to the bus stop on 3rd Avenue by 183rd Street Saturday, and as he waits, he takes a step forward and all of a sudden disappears into the sidewalk.
He was casually waiting for the bus, and it just
A crowd rushes over to where police say a layer of sidewalk concrete gave out, and the 33-year-old victim fell down a 12 to 15-foot hole. This witness told us in Spanish,
"Se cayó debajo y
I looked down and the guy was only moving his hand. First responders soon arrived, but the victim's brother told us he was trapped down there for about half an hour.
rats crawling on him. He can't move. He didn't want to yell. It was so bad. He didn't want to yell because he was afraid it was going to be rats, went inside his mouth and stuff. So he was just there.
Finally, firefighters were able to pull him out and put him in an ambulance to the hospital.
When he fell, his face, it scraped concrete. So his, that skin came off. His arm was, bad. His leg is numb.
The Department of Buildings says the sidewalk over the building's cellar had been in disrepair and gave out. A DOB inspector has since issued a full
warning. And they've also, I'll tell you what they're doing. They've told the owner of the building he has to build a fence around the building. Everybody in the building had to be evacuated, and the owners are going to have to pay for the damages. And there's just a whole lot out there. But this happened on the sidewalk. Now, I'm wondering about who's responsible. Is the sidewalk part of the city, or is it the store owners in the, if it's in front of your store, is it you or the city? Somebody call up Bill Blasio on this. And matter of fact, let's just ask the 650 people that are in the chat room right now, who do you think is going to pay for this repairs and this man? Is the city of New York, or is the owner of the building? Put down city or building. Let's see what our chat room says. Looks like city, 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 the city, the city, 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 the owners. Well, the city, building, building, city, building, city, 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 building, city, city, building, 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 city, 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 building, city, 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 building, city, 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 building, city, building, city, building, city, city, building, sidewalk in the city, 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 building. Okay, looks like 75% say the city should pay, 25% say the building owner should pay, and we'll wait and see. We'll try to find out who will actually pay. Somebody check with the mayor of New York, Bill Blasio. I'll say they'll stick it to the building owner, but to my opinion, the city should absolutely pay. It's their sidewalk, but it's New York, and it's one of the highest taxed states in the union. I want to find out. We're gonna stay on top of this. Good news is the man is going to survive. Bad news, you heard, broken arm, broken leg, scraped very horrifically in his face, and traumatized by 30 minutes of rats. He wanted to scream for help, but was afraid if he opened his mouth to scream, the swarming rats would have went into his mouth, choked him, and killed him. So, I mean, can you imagine the trauma, the pain, the trauma, wondering how long? Could you imagine how long the 30 minutes was? It would have been like being in hell for eternity almost. Unbelievable. Pray for this man that he gets feeling better. This is a horrific thing. I mean, unbelievable. I watched the video of it, the surveillance of it. I'll tell you what I'll do for you. Let me grab the story, and I'll put the link in the chat room for you. It is a little eerie, and it is a little scary, okay, to be quite honest with you. But somebody pray for this man, and all of you pray for him. He really needs our prayers. Here's the link. You can go to the article right there, and you can watch the video, and you'll see him fall. It's very traumatizing for him. Guys, there's a lot going on. And I tell you something, the Bible talked about the sin of Korah, and it talked about when they came against Moses and Aaron. And Moses, they wanted to replace Moses and Aaron, the elders of the children of Israel did. And Moses said, they said, look, we got fire. We got more power from our fire, which was power from their idol gods. And they challenged Moses and Aaron. And Moses said, don't you come in the temple with that strange fire. Meet us outside the front gate tomorrow. This was out in the wilderness. This is the tabernacle. And so stand out front. We'll meet you there. So when the morning came, Moses and Aaron were out there. Here came these 250 elders of Israel carrying their strange fire. And Moses told them, you guys have sinned against God, blaspheming God. And all of a sudden the earth just opened up and these guys fell, and they didn't stop after 12 feet. They were gone. They were all gone. They disappeared. Wow. And then a plague hit the children of Israel, and they started falling over like flies, dying. And Aaron had the incense, the secret incense that was to be used, on the brazen altar. On the golden altar for prayer, where the smoke goes straight up. He was carrying the incense, and he took off running with the incense, going like this till he got out ahead of the plague. And when he did that, the incense stopped the plague, and nobody else died. But by the time he got out there, I think it's around 75,000. I could be wrong on that number. I can't quite remember. I think it was around 75,000 people fell dead from the plague. But he had the sacred incense to protect it. Now, let me give you a little backstory. When we met with Vendell Jones found the sacred incense buried in the Qumran caves. This was 1,500 pounds of the incense for the first temple, Solomon's temple. And they knew, I'm wrong. This was for the second temple. This is King Herod's temple. And they knew that the temple was in danger of being destroyed. There was rumors that the Roman Empire was going to destroy the temple on the Temple Mount. So in 67 AD, they took 1,500 pounds of the secret sacred incense that was used on the golden altar, and they buried it in a hole in a cave and covered it over in case the temple was destroyed. They want to at least have the incense preserved to when they rebuild the third temple. Now, this was 2,000 years ago, guys. And they put a coin, a Roman coin, that said 67 AD, and they put it in the incense so that whoever it was found it later and dug it up would know that this was the incense and that the date on it would be 67 AD. Well, Vendell Jones from Texas, the Lord spoke to him, a Baptist preacher. He was married to a Jewish woman who could speak Paleo-Hebrew. And the Lord said, go to Israel and find the sacred incense. And so, in other words, and go find the ashes of the red heifer. This is the key point. So he goes, it takes him 4 years, and he finds, first of all, the Lord, he had to go to Jordan to read the copper scrolls. When he read the copper scrolls, he realized it was 12 columns that made a map. His wife was able to decipher it. That took 11 years. Once they got it deciphered and they realized it was a map, then they went looking up in the mountains there of the Qumran area, looking for the cave. They finally found it, and in 1992, he was digging in this cave along with 4 people from Indiana. This is why Vendell Jones, which they called Vendy Jones, guess what? Somebody wrote a movie called Indiana Jones, because it was Vendell Jones with 4 people from Indiana. Now, Heidi found out who the 4 people were, and the lady who actually discovered the sacred incense. Heidi found this people. They never want anybody to know who they were. Heidi found them. We went to their home, spent an entire day with them on the Sabbath, and had the Sabbath meal with them while they told the story of how they found the sacred incense. Now, I'm telling you all this to say this. It's 1,500 pounds of it, but it's 2,000 years old. And it's only to be used as the incense on the golden altar for prayers that go straight up to heaven by the priest. They were given a bottle of it to take home to Indiana as a souvenir, and they have it sealed in this bottle. But while we were there, they felt led of the Lord to give Heidi a little bitty bottle of it as a blessing to her, and she has it. A little bit of it right there in a little bitty bottle. It's the sacred incense from the Second Temple period, from King Herod's temple, that was discovered. She has some of it. Now, here's the deal. It's to never be used anywhere in any fashion except when you're putting it on the golden altar with the fire from the brazen altar and offering prayers unto God. But they wanted to be sure this was the real stuff. So they took it and sent it to Hebrew University and had it analyzed. They got permission from the rabbis and the Sanhedrin court to do a one-time test. So they took a little bit of it and put it on the fire. And when they did, smoke came up straight up, and every bug, every insect, everything ran away. Everything ran away. And for 30 days, not a mosquito, not a bug, nothing would come near where this aroma went out. It was a sweet smelling aroma. It was beautiful. The smoke went straight up like it's supposed to, and they realized this was the sacred incense. And listen to this. This is why I'm telling you this. It's the anointing that breaks the yoke. Okay, you can find that in the Bible. And the power of prayer goes up before God like a sweet smelling savor. Okay, so great blessing comes when the anointing is involved in prayer. And so you have to hear me. Vendell Jones was looking, though, for the ashes of the red heifer, because according to the copper scroll and the map said, go read the book of Jubilees. So the book of Jubilees, which is not in our Bible, but was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, with the Dead Sea Scrolls, with the book of Isaiah and the book of several other manuscripts and old sacred writings. They also found what was called the book of Jubilees. And the book of Jubilees is believed to have been written by the prophet Jeremiah and his 5 scribes that helped him. And in the book of Jubilees, it says that is not the incense buried, and isn't the purification under the incense. So Jeremiah says that he prophesies in the book of Jubilees. He says that the incense will one day be hid, and underneath it will be the purification. But what's the purification? What the purification would be, the box with the ashes of the red heifer used by God for the priest to sprinkle into the holy water, if you will, to purify the water before they would do their service before the Lord, like washing their robes, or they wash their hands in the water that had been purified by the ashes of a red heifer. Think about this. So this is what they were trying to find. Well, they found the sacred incense, but when they went to dig farther, Indiana Jones wanted to go further. They stopped him. The Hebrew government, the Israeli government, stopped him and said, it's not time for the red ashes yet. Stop. And they sealed the cave. That was 1992. Now, Vendell Jones is dead. But the 4 people who found the incense with him are all 4 alive. And Heidi and I spent a day with them, but they would not let us film and record them because they never want to be known who they are. They shared the story with us, and then they gave Heidi a little bit of the incense. And then I said, so what's the deal? And the man went back into the bedroom and brought out a letter he had received from the nation of Israel, from the government of Israel, it said, sir, we understand you're still alive. We would like for you to come back to Israel as a consultant and be here and show us where we need to dig. It is time to get the ashes. Well, why is it time to get the ashes? Because the ashes of a red heifer have to be used to dedicate the third temple. And what you're to do is take the ashes, which is of the red heifer, and you then sacrifice another red heifer, and you take its ashes and you mix them with the ashes you already have in the box. It's only been done 9 times since God instituted it in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus. 9 times they've had to make a new sacrifice to a new red heifer, because once the ashes get down to about a third of the ashes left, they need to sacrifice another red heifer and put its ashes and mix it. And so they've done it 9 times, but now those ashes have been hiding for 2,000 years in the bottom of that cave in the Qumran of outside in the desert of Israel. They know where it's at, and now it's time to dig it up. And he got the letter in January of 2019, and they asked him to go. They said, it is time to dig up the red heifer ashes. And you guys know also that there is 2 red heifers now that have qualified, that are in Israel right now, that could be used for the next sacrifice of red heifer. Why would they do it? To mix the ashes with the old, to use to dedicate the third temple. How close are we to the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ? Extremely close. Give your life to Jesus Christ, folks. We're running out of time. Are you serious? Are you saved? Are you saved? You don't want to be left behind.